All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. We are back. We are back. Holy shit, it's been a while since we've done a video, guys. At least for AMC and GameStop. There's been so much going on with the Discord. I don't know if you guys saw our most recent tweet that I have pinned at the top of my profile. I think Darren has it pinned as well. The Yield Boss Discord is now at over 400 members, and we have made $16.5 million in the last 9 months. This is trading across. This is trading across small caps, mid caps, large commodities, analyzing fixed income, analyzing the equity market, everything going on with the economy, the Fed, etc. We're having tons of success. The Yield Boss team is knocking it out of the park. Our members could not be happier. It's very much a family environment, and it will continue to grow as such. But as for right now, we're closed. We will not be opening until the fall again. So any stragglers, get your asses in if we message you. And anyone else, you guys can see what we do and how we operate on Twitter. And we'll take things from there the next time when we open. But for now, this video is going to be about AMC and GameStop. Why? Because we just hit our most recent micro POI. Now, the micro POI window was something that I talked about 2 months ago. Okay, it started April 4th. I don't know if you guys remember. I tweeted on April 4th that was when the window was going to begin. Adam Aaron tweeted a half an hour after. The stock started to jump. It was like 5 or 6%, and then it came right back down. That micro POI got snubbed, and they extended it all the way out to the next micro POI, which was Memorial Day weekend. Now, we alerted 2 weeks ago that for the micro, for GameStop and AMC was going to run into that 350 range, which right now it's exceeding. It's at $4, which is fucking awesome. And GameStop is going to go to 35, basically, I think it was 35.65 I had, and it went to 35.67 to within 2 pennies. So, absolutely nailed this call. 2 weeks in advance, told the exact date. It was May 28th, I think, on my chart, which was Thursday into Friday. And I told you guys last week that it was going to continue until we got back from Memorial Day weekend. So, we are in this micro POI right now. And what we want to talk about is the potential for higher price targets, and we're going to go through that with Darren's target planes. And we're also going to talk to you guys about, just in the next month or two, what we're looking at POI wise, where we expect the runs to be, where we expect continuation to be. For me, both stocks have basically hit their range top. I don't expect a macro blast here. I don't expect $6 here. I don't expect $50 here from GME. Darren will show you though where the target planes are and where we're going to go if we actually continue to those levels. If we do, it will change the macro path for the remainder of the year. So higher macro targets is what we're seeing, but not really until August, July, the fall. But right now, we'll go through it one by one. Let me flip this off, and we'll get this going. 1 sec. I hope genuinely that everyone hit this micro POI. Yield Boss Discord just walked away with something like 500K. I'll post those gains tomorrow so you guys can see. But very happy that if you guys hit this. It's been a bit. These stocks have been fucking flatlined for an entire year. It sucks. We had that big distribution in this winter that we talked about after December 1st that both stocks were going to distribute, and they did in epic fashion. A lot of people got hurt on that because they're not hedging with puts. But still, we want to make sure you guys know exactly what's coming, exactly what potential price targets it can be at, and whatever. Just make sure you're safe, because that's why we're here, to protect you with the information and systems that we use. All right, so let's first just pull up a chart. We'll go over the target planes, and then we'll get things going in the POS.
All right, so what we have is we clearly had this big outburst back here in December. You came straight down. Then you formed this nice inverse head and shoulders down here, solid structure. So what happened is when we broke out of that and we solidified, confirmed that breakout, you activated this target plane. Now, as you can see, this target plane, it clearly went up and it is currently sweeping T2. Everyone in the Discord was fully prepared to take advantage of this and capitalize on it. In terms of a potential for higher targets, we have this falling wedge here. So this falling wedge, obviously coupled with the initial momentum from the inverse head and shoulders breakout, you're looking at a possible T1 at 430, possible T2 at 648. Now, it's important to note that these targets from the falling wedge, they do not dissipate until late August. So you have any time between now and late August where this target plane could be fulfilled. Of course, per usual, if you hit T1, then this entire target plane could be completed, which means that you could only hit T1 by August and then have this completion and then nothing until the next macro POI. So that's currently what we're looking at. We have a lot more stuff that we're kind of keeping close to the chest right now, but in terms of what you need to know, I think that this just about covers it.
Okay, and on the back of what Darren just said, like we've talked about in the past, you guys understand that traditional TA does work on these stocks. I see that a lot on Twitter that people say that it doesn't, but it is clearly respecting supply and demand levels and building a volume profile that it moves to. That is what the algorithm does. It is think of it as like a car that needs gas to both the up and downside, and that gas is selling supply or buying demand. Now, once it grabs enough buying demand, as you guys can see here, let me pull my thing. As it grabbed enough buying demand here, that's when it starts to move up when you get to the POIs. Now I have the POIs listed out here so you guys can see moving further in time. These are more macro based. These are your places and your cross points where the algorithm is going to send volume from the fail to deliver and dark pools all the way to the NYSE. And that's when you're going to get your price action to the up or downside. Now, we're at the one right now on your micro, but as you can see, the next one is coming up really quick, which is June 6th. And remember, the S&P right now is in a place where it's making a right shoulder, or appears to be, and Trump is about to talk about tariffs in a big way, coming in between that June 4th and 5th window. These things can heat up really quick to the inverse, and that's why you have to be really careful. They not only just ran the stock, right? So you guys start to add this week after Memorial Day. The odds of it continuing tomorrow all the way up to here are incredibly, incredibly unlikely. They don't like doing that, okay? They don't like giving you guys an added run after it already starts to make a run. It's more likely going to do something like this, and then it's going to inverse on the next POI, which is completely fine because you'll come right back into your demand zone, which is gas for another move higher going into later in the summer, okay? And that's what we're expecting. But for right now, this is just micro. This is not macro. Like Darren said, a minute ago, once the target planes are activated, the next target plane can be hit. As we have had, and I've talked about for some time now, that 6 area is what we're really looking for because that's your next untapped supply level, okay? That is where your selling supply is highest, and that is where the algorithm is going to take it to make sure you test that level before it makes its any type of super macro move higher or lower. It has to test that $6 level. The question is, when is the timing going to be? Now, we know it's going to be this year because we have added macro POIs now, but for this micro, it's just not very likely. Like, the Memorial Day weekend is a news-based move. It's based off movies. The last time we had a move, which it made a little micro run here, which I called to the day. Adam Aaron tweeted a half an hour later. Okay, these micro runs based off small news can only cause small runs. If you're going to get a move that's exaggerated and exacerbated to the upside like this, you need bigger news, okay? For GameStop, you need Ryan Cohen to come out and say something's going on with Bitcoin, right? For AMC, you need something to come out that has to do with maybe restructuring debt further or something going on with revenue streams, etc., okay? Anything that's going to make a larger move needs larger news. And it's the same exact thing for GameStop, okay? The chart is playing out exactly as AMC's. They have the same repeating fractal and the same structure, but GameStop is moving at a little faster pace as usual because the stock is more volatile. Now, as we get into later in the summer, we're looking for this supply level to be hit, okay? That's your major macro move. But as for right now, this is just your micro, okay? So doing this, bobbling, and then you get to that June 6th window and retesting demand is a very, very likely scenario before we start stair-stepping the rest of the summer into a higher liquid zone where the supply matters most, okay? Okay, so that's how we are currently looking at it from an analysis standpoint. This is how we're looking at it in the Yield Boss Discord. If you guys have any further questions, let us know. Not much more crazy things to talk about. Again, we're still in that small window. We need to see how it reacts over the next week before we can make a prediction accurately on what comes next on the macro POIs and how they're going to play out. Darryl, let me get you back on here one second. So, in conclusion, again, I hope you guys hit this micro. Very happy if you did. But if you were to join the Yield Boss Discord, you would have knew about these things with more heightened specificity, even further in advance. Obviously, there's free information that we give to Twitter and YouTube and TikTok, and we want to help the retail community as much as we can. But for the Discord, everything's going to be a lot more specific because these are paying members. These guys deserve our utmost and best, highest quality information when we get it in real time. Okay? Anything else? I think we're good to go.
I think that covers it.
Anything else? I miss making videos for you guys. It's been really, really busy during the onboarding and getting everything up and ready for the next schedule and all the things that we have planned for upcoming announcements that we don't have announced on Twitter yet. But if you guys have any questions, again, let me know in the comments. As of right now, hang tight. Next week is going to determine where this micro goes for the rest of the way. And then we'll be able to figure out the exact macro path going into the fall from that point forward. All right. Love you guys. Good to be back. See you later.